A few minutes and see.
What's the quorum? Is it 5?
4 out of 7.
You'll probably have Sunday next year. She's in high school now. She's like, you're a lifelong resident. You're a lifelong teacher.
Sure. Okay. Well, it's 7:03. Sorry, I should have done that, Brent. We're going to wait just a few minutes here and see if we can get a quorum. Mike, sorry. Hopefully we got to have 4 people to vote on this item. Otherwise, we have to do it again. So if you don't mind, we'll wait just a bit here.
I did have a quorum for the homeowner. We'll do it this way. Hey Steve, this is Brian and you're on speakerphone. Can you hear me? Perfect. Thank you so much. So yeah, we just need to make sure we have a quorum tonight, so I appreciate you being able to meet this way. That's okay. That's okay. I feel at the table if that's okay.
Well, I think that sounds fine.
Okay. Okay, perfect. Steve, can you hear Gary?
Steve, can you hear us? Okay, I'll try to speak more into the mic. You want to put the phone right here?
Or you can stop there just so we can hear him.
All right, that'll work. Can you hear that better, Steve?
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay, so at 7:06, we'll call to order this meeting of the Planning and Zoning Board for Tuesday, February 22nd. I think as a matter of helping Steve through this and just so we can get this done with this one case, we might just jump to the roll call and go from there. Is that okay? Yeah. Roll call?
Gary Jansen.
Yes, ma'am.
Paul Spranger.
Yes.
Rick Schoenberger.
Yes.
Steve Conway.
Yes.
Tony Meadows.
Thanks for getting on the phone, Steve. This really helps. For those who are here, if you've had a chance to see the agenda for tonight's meeting, are there any questions or comments? I assume there's none from you, Steve. I'll make a motion. We approve the agenda as presented.
I'll second it.
We have a motion, a second. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay. Approval of the draft minutes from the January 25th meeting. Anybody have any questions or comments, additions to the draft meeting minutes? If not, I move that we approve the minutes as presented.
Second.
A second from Brian. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Any communications, Ryan? Okay. So we have one public hearing item tonight, which is review of RZ 2022-01, application of Michael and Tammy Miller pursuant to City Code 1711, who are petitioning for a rezoning of land that is currently zoned R1B, which is the city's designation for a single-family residential district, to C1, which is the city's designations for a central business district. The property is currently addressed as 321 West First Street in Valley Center. Ryan, if you would, please.
Okay, thank you. So the application before you tonight, you'll recognize this property. This is the former library property located on First Street. It is actually two parcels of land, but it is under ownership by Mr. and Mrs. Miller. I will acknowledge that Mr. Miller is with us this evening and as always would invite the applicant to speak during the public hearing if he chooses to do so. This property consists of one lot that has, again, the former library on it, and then the lot to the west, which is the parking lot, the former parking lot of the library. And so the owner would like to, their original plan was to convert this into their primary residence. But upon further review and its close proximity to the railroad, they decided not to do that. And so are looking for a more commercial nature, a commercial reuse of this property. And so that's why they have come before us tonight with a case requesting rezoning to C1. Again, I would remind the board that the process is that you vote on this tonight. And if you do recommend approval by voting on it, then it goes before city council with a rezoning ordinance. And these two lots will be rezoned from R1B to C1. The public notices were published in the newspaper as well as sent out to the surrounding property owners. I, to date, have received 2 responses to the letters. Neither of the people that responded were opposed to the project or opposed to the rezoning. They were just more curious as to what the purpose of the rezoning was, what the process is, things like that. This property is in a mixed use area of the community with a mixture of single family homes, multifamily homes, and then a lot of commercial in our downtown corridor directly to the south. City staff does recommend approval of this rezoning. I would also note that these lots are in what's called our downtown overlay district. So as part of the application, as part of the staff report, we have the applicant's letter. And then at the end, I wanted to make sure that we were clear on what is permitted in C1 zoning, as well as what is prohibited in the downtown neighborhood overlay district. So included in this report is what is permitted, special use and conditional use under C1, but you have to take out certain items from per the downtown neighborhood overlay district. So it does limit what this property can be used for. Again, the applicant is considering multiple commercial uses at this time, perhaps office space, perhaps multifamily. From our meeting last month, just want to remind everyone that residential is allowed in C1, but it is not allowed in C2. We'll stand for any questions. Also invite the board to have Mr. Miller speak if he wishes to do so during the public hearing.
Thank you. I think we'll go ahead and open the public hearing in a 7-Eleven, but I'm going to ask you a quick question first, Ryan, if you don't mind, just so I understand. And you might have just explained this, but when I was reading through this, it said that the applicants originally had requested C2 potentially for indoor storage.
Yes, that is correct. So their original intent once they decided they didn't want to use it as their home or convert it into their home, they had pursued C2. But as noted, and it is included in the staff report at the back, the downtown neighborhood overlay district does prohibit the use of indoor storage.
Isn't that what those two white buildings are to the south?
So those two buildings, I can't tell you when they were put into effect. My guess is that they predate the existing zoning code.
Okay. I just had to ask because
Yeah, no,
I'm
definitely,
sure
yeah,
those are
for sure.
indoor storage.
For sure. I think they've been around for a long time, but again, they supersede our existing zoning code, which was adopted in 2014. So in other words, it's a non-conforming use.
I don't want to sound argumentative, but I'm just.
No,
this is my
it's a great question.
Curious mind. I'm
Yes.
not even trying to argue for that
Yes.
thing because maybe they don't care, but it's just my curiosity.
Yeah, no, that's an excellent question. There are other non-conforming uses around the community, and what we look at when we're moving forward with new projects such as this one is that we're adhering and following the existing zoning code.
And I'm good with that. Here's my question. So somebody could live in there, they could have whatever kind of junk and anything they wanted and nobody would ever know, but they can't store something inside there that someone still wouldn't know was in there.
It can't be, so so if I understand you correctly, you're talking about private use versus commercial use.
Correct. And that's
Yes, so
probably the
yes,
answer.
if someone owned this property and they wanted to use it as their own personal storage, that's fine. But there's a difference between it being used as a private storage building and used for commercial where they're renting it out to different tenants that want to use it as commercial storage space. And so what this is referring to here is under C, under conditional uses that are prohibited in the overlay district. Number 8, mini storage facilities for inside rental storage only. So that's now that might be splitting hairs, but that is the difference because one's commercial where you're actively marketing this, you're collecting rent fees, as opposed to someone where it's under private ownership and them using it themselves. Now, obviously, if there are complaints, then our code enforcement officer, Mr. Bill Andrews, would definitely address those. If it was unsightly, if there were public safety issues, then obviously city staff, we're going to address those to make sure that it is safe and not unsightly, that we're not hurting the aesthetics and the public safety of the community. But again, that's private versus commercial use.
And I appreciate that. And I wasn't trying to start a discussion
That's
or
okay.
argument about.
No, absolutely not. That's
I
fine.
could see, I was trying to, I'm good with that. I understand the inherent nature and the difference between private and commercial use. That's fine. I'm good with that.
Okay.
Do you have any questions?
No, I just wouldn't want to consider your house a storage place if you have stuff I don't like.
No, and that's not where I was going with it. I just think there's a few things within the zoning code that might be a little bit of a reach, but that's my opinion. And we are here to adhere to what's in the zoning. So sorry, I didn't mean to inject that. We're good. I wanted to understand that.
Yes.
Mike, did you have anything you want to add?
Really, I think Ryan did a great job of describing kind of the last 2 months of us working together. Originally, yeah, it was going to be storage units, but after further review, we found out it's still in that district overlay, so it wouldn't work. So, but yeah, it's changing this over to C1 just gives us more opportunity to use it, whether to rent it out as office space or convert it into multifamily or something like that. So that's really all we want to do. Right now, it has been personal storage, so it's full of stuff for us. But
Not that I recommended that, Mike.
well, we own it, so we're like, yeah, we're going to store some stuff.
I
in there.
got you.
So, but yeah, that's all we want to do. Be able to use it and use it a little bit more effectively than what it is right now.
Well, it's kind of a neat place. I drove by there again. We used to walk by there a lot, and I drove by there again. And I applaud you you and your wife for buying that. I'm glad somebody did. It'd be kind of neat to have something happen with that. So.
And if we were another 100 yards away from the railroad tracks, it'd be our own. So
Yeah, it's kind of tough. That's awfully close. I live close enough to the tracks, but not that close. So.
yeah, we do too. So
Well, good. Well, thanks. Hopefully it works out for you.
any other questions?
No, I don't think so. And I'm just going to ask. Steve, do you have any questions? Sorry, Steve, I didn't mean to forget you.
No, I don't. Not at this time.
Okay. And I'm going to assume there's no one else in the public who would like to speak on this item. Okay, then at 7:16, we'll close the public hearing and return the discussion to the board. Gentlemen, any questions, comments, anything you'd like to add?
So there's no use for the property yet determined. We're just going C1 to explore our options.
Yes, so what this does is it would allow anything that is permitted or a special or conditional use that is not a prohibited use in the downtown neighborhood, that overlay district, yes, it could be used for that. Now, any conversion of the existing, of the former library, let's say they do decide to turn it into an office building and they want to do a gut job and a remodel of the interior, that does not have to come before any board, but it does have to go through, because Sedgwick County does our commercial building inspections at this time. The plans for that interior remodel would have to go to MABCD, the Metropolitan Area Building and Construction Department, prior to us issuing them a building permit, and then it'd be inspected by one of MABCD's commercial inspectors. Now, with the second lot where the library parking lot area was, if they want to build any kind of new commercial structure, that will be required to go through the Planning and Zoning Board through the site plan approval process. But again, if they're not doing if they're not changing the footprint or enlarging it by greater than 20% of the existing footprint of that building, it just requires a commercial building permit from the city. But let's say they did want to double the size of the former library, then that would be required to go through the site plan review process as well. But any new construction, whether it be a duplex, an office building, one of those permitted uses, and they want to build a second building on that second lot, then that does have to go through the site plan review process. So you would see that at a future board meeting for approval prior to us issuing a building permit.
Thank you for that clarification. I
Yes.
appreciate it. Okay, well, if there's no other questions or comments, based on city staff recommendations, public comments, and discussion by the Planning and Zoning Board, I make a motion to approve RZ 2022-01. We got a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Good luck, Mike. Thanks for coming in. I hope it works out for you. Any old or unfinished business?
No, the only other item I have is that we have not received any applications and the deadline is passed, so we will not be meeting in March. So you get a night off. So that we will not meet as a board in March. And I would like to thank Mike for his service to the board. He is currently serving as one of the out of town board members. His term is set to expire in April. He's moving in town, so that will be an open position. So if anyone, we'll post it on the city's Facebook page and take applications to be approved by city council. But if anyone does know of anyone that lives outside of the city limits but within 3 miles of that boundary, send them my way. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions they have. But we will have that opening, and then Gary, if you could let me know sometime next month, if you would like to renew your term. And then I can get that approved by city.
I've been waiting to see if there's a pay increase that comes with it.
My undying gratitude, Gary.
What you're saying is I better not wait too long, huh?
No, I appreciate it. Again, everyone serves on the board. Steve, thank you so much for
Yeah, Steve,
being with us
that
tonight so we can have a forum. Thank you.
Well, I feel horrible for not being there.
Steve, it helped a lot. Otherwise, we were going to have to redo this one. So it kept the applicant from having to wait a month. So thanks a lot for calling in.
But that's all I have, Gary. Thank you.
I'm glad I could do it this way.
Okay. Thanks, Steve. Steve, you have anything else before we go?
I do not.
Anything from you guys? Okay. I move we adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. We are adjourned. Thanks, Steve.
Thank you.